is my 2020 or 2021 or something, my Evil Reckoning V3 Let's Do a Bike Check. So I've got a few custom bits on my bike, so I thought it would be fun to do a full bike check. I know I've got a ton of questions in the comments on every video asking me about the Reckoning, so let's go through it. And slight life update. Last week I actually broke my toe riding. It's, I don't know, all purple now. So I think we're gonna put a pause on the riding videos for now, and we're gonna do more, you know, bike checks, bike tech stuff. So if there's a video, a non-riding related video that you've wanted to see me do for a while, leave it down in the comments, and you know what? I'll see if I can get it done. Got a couple weeks. All right, so we'll start in the front and the top here. We'll work our way to the back. And when I go through each of those parts, maybe I'll give you a bit of an idea of why I chose them or why I chose to leave them on the bike, give you a little mini review. And I guess let's start with the grips. These are the Evil Pamela Henderson, something like that. Grips, I think they're rebranded from some other brand, but I actually quite like them. They have a nice little ribbed section on one side, other grippy stuff on the other side. I actually quite like these grips. I know I've seen other reviewers say they really don't like them, but I like them and I would definitely ride them again. When they start to wear out, I might just order another pair. And they are attached to the 1-Up carbon bars, and I decided to go with the 35 mil rise instead of the 20 mil rise. I think this whole bike is sort of jump oriented, and I find having a higher front end is actually easier and more comfortable for jumping. You can imagine in an extreme case like an XC bike or a road bike where you're really leaned over the front. Imagine hitting a jump like that, it's gonna be, you know, just a little more awkward. So having a high front end, for me personally, just like that BMX style with its high bars, I find I like it a lot. It makes jumping just a little bit easier. Then of course, I just like when things match, like brand wise. So I have the 1-Up stem, it's a 35 mil stem. Again, sort of that shorter stem, that steering characteristic you get from a short stem. That's sort of my jumping style. That's what I like and how I feel a bike should feel. I find those long stems just kind of like give you this bit of a boat feeling. Maybe it helps get the weight over the front, but again, for my kind of style, I like a nice short stem. 35 mil bar diameter, 35 mil stem length. That sounds right. And I gotta match the 1-Up with the 1-Up, of course. Now, a lot of people ask about why I have this hose running through the middle here. And I also have the press fit 1-Up stem thing where you tighten this little bolt and it pushes a piece of the stem down to tighten your headset. It's a super annoying design. I don't like it. I actually have a different top cap to put in here, but this was the easiest thing to do to run this hose through here. I'm gonna do a whole video about why I've done this. And you know what? You're just gonna have to wait and see that, unless you already know. But you know, shh, secret. Next, this is a super new addition to me. I have never really used a bike computer before, but this is the Wahoo Element Bolt. I just bought it off Amazon. I think it's pretty expensive. It's like 300 Canadian. You know, it just shows things like your heart rate and does your Strava stuff and, you know, just a bunch of bike nerd stuff. I really like it, and well, there it is. Although I haven't really used it much yet because I broke my toe and then it showed up in the mail. So I put it on my bike just so I can look at it and enjoy it. And I think last thing up here on this side is the P&W loam lever. I bought this a super long time ago, but I ended up just liking the lever that was on my Specialized Enduro, or no, it was even older than that. The lever that was on my Capra, it was an E13 lever, had a bearing in it, felt pretty nice, so this just sat in my drawer until I needed it when I built this bike, and well, here it is. I don't like that it's a different color. I wish it was either maybe blue to match my sticker and my Fox stem? No, valve caps here, or just black, but it's a really nice lever. It's very sharp, bearing, super smooth. Really like it, just wish it was a different color. Next, I have these limited edition TRP DHR Evo brakes. Now, full disclosure, they did send me these brakes, and I quite like them. I think a lot of people might be familiar with the Quadiums, their older brake, and these feel quite a bit better. Now, I do like that they're gold. I got them when I had the Enduro, but I didn't have the Kashima stuff, and I'm happy I do have the Kashima stuff now, because I really like this sort of black and gold thing I've got going on. Now, there's no sort of like pad adjustment like you see on the Code RSCs or even on the XTRs, but they do have this sort of reach lever thing adjuster here. I keep it pretty much just screwed all the way in, and what I like about these levers is, you know, they're nice and long, but they've also made the pull a lot easier. With the Codes, I felt like there's just a lot of resistance in the pull, whereas these feel more like the Shimano's, just a nice light lever pull. And, you know, then you don't have to keep your fingers so flexed the whole time you're riding. As far as feel goes, I would say they feel in between the Codes and the XTRs. They're kind of like the XTRs, but with a bit more modulation. And yeah, they probably lean a little bit to the Shimano side. There is a bit of bite, and I really like that. I like that nice initial bite, but there is definitely some modulation. And yeah, so far so good. This bike actually came with XTs, and I opted to just keep the TRP DHR Evos. And they're gold, come on. Looks so good. So up front, I have the Fox 38 with the Kashima. It's 170 mil travel. It's got the Grip 2 damper. So far, so good. I really like it. I think I kind of am more of a RockShox person. I can't, you know, the difference is tiny, but I think I like the Zeb a little bit more, but not nearly enough in any universe would I ever bother switching the suspension. They're so close, but yeah, I definitely prefer the 38 though. The bigger diameter forks, for me, I'm 225 pounds right now, so I 100% noticed that extra stiffness, and it's very much welcomed. Then a lot of people ask me about this. This is my RRP fender. It's a bolt-on fender, makes things super clean. No, you know, zip ties or anything rattling around, and there's like little guards to stop mud from getting up into the sort of the seals and stuff. I really like that. They actually sent this to me, and there is an affiliate link down in the description if you want to pick one up. And they also come in a bunch of different sizes too. This is the regular sized one, and then there's a mini that I used to have, but I actually think I like the regular sized one a little bit better. Now moving down a bit further, I run the Versus tires. This is their trail folding bead casing. Again, full disclosure, they did send me these tires, but I quite like them. Again, my bike came with an Assegai and a DHR2, which are still folded up and sitting in my bedroom. These tires are pretty similar to the DHR2. They have a sort of similar tread pattern. And what I like about these tires is that they're kind of a bit more rounded, so that when you are pedaling up the hill, there's a lot less rolling resistance. If you've ever ridden max grip Assegais, you know what rolling resistance is. Now these tires are sitting on a pair of Noble Wheels TR37 carbon rims. Full disclosure, they are a channel sponsor, but I really love these wheels. I think maybe because I'm a heavier guy, or I don't know, I was riding hard enough, I was just denting wheels and going through a lot of maintenance and having to relace rims a lot, and just having to care about your wheels that often and blowing spokes and all that kind of stuff is just super annoying. That's why I reached out to them in the first place, because I heard they were just like super strong, and basically you would put them on and forget about them, and that's been my experience. I would say that's the number one thing I really love about these wheels. You put them on and then you just forget about it. Like, I haven't even done any maintenance to my last set of Noble wheels, and it's been over a year of just riding it on the North Shore and in the park. That is just, yeah, it's just nice to not have to think about it. And then in this wheel that you can't see is, I run Cushcore. I've been running Cushcore for quite a while now. Again, full disclosure, they did send me this set of Cushcore. I run it front and rear, and yeah, I really like it. I think it's totally worth the wait. It adds sort of that stiffness to the tire so you can run lower pressure but not have your whole tire bead fold. And if you ever do sort of like crunch the wheel, it protects the rim, gives you just that bit of extra suspension, and yeah, just feels nice. And I have noticed that most people on the North Shore, you'll see they have these green valves, they're running Cushcore. So going down a bit further, I lace these rims to the Industry 9 Hydra hubs. That was just straight from Noble. You can just, choose a bunch of different hubs. I think they have like Chris King, DT Swiss, I9, Vesper, a bunch of different hub combinations to choose from. I went with these black i9s. I like the buzz of an i9. I almost went with the Vespers to try out that sort of like silent hub thing, but you know what? Can't beat that Hydra buzz. And I also run the 223 mil front rotor from TRP. It's that extra thick one too. My saddle is a WTB Volt. This is just what comes on the Reckoning, and yeah, felt pretty comfy, so I decided just to leave it. And it is sitting on a bike yoke 180, 185, somewhere around that dropper post. Again, so far so good. I've had this post stick, like get stuck up or develop sort of like a bit of sponginess in the top, but they've got this little valve thing here where you turn it with an Allen key, pump it up a few times up and down, that just goes away. So yeah, I have had some problems with it, but they're super easy to fix, and other than that, so far so good. All right, coming down here, this is something I actually really like. It's the Fidlock bottle. It's this magnetic hook bottle water thing, just like the Fox helmets. They have those, those magnetic clip. Same thing here, you just boop, put your bottle down, magnetically clips in, yeah, pretty neat. A lot of people have asked me if I've had it fall out or anything like that, and so far, nope, I've never had it fall out. I don't love how this bottle looks. You know, like to get maybe a different looking bottle. It looks kind of funky, but other than that, works super well, and I much prefer it over, you know, regular water bottle cage, I guess. Super expensive. I don't know if it's worth the price, but I mean, magnets, come on, magnets. If you put magnets in something, I'm gonna want it, just no matter what it is. Then moving down, I've got the Fox X2 float rear shock with the high speed and low speed rebound and compression. This is a pretty linear air shock, which I really like. Yeah, you know, no complaints. I really like how adjustable it is. I think I'll probably end up trying a coil on this bike because I think that's like where it shines, and this bike is supposed to come with a coil. But yeah, so far with the air shock, don't really have any complaints. I do find that the X2s, or Fox in general, like you really need to keep an eye on them and maintain them for sure in those service intervals, because they will explode and leak oil. But when they work, they're great. They'll stop working fast. Then I do have the XT build on this bike, so I have a full XT drivetrain, which includes XT cranks. Again, they're pretty light for aluminum cranks, no complaints there. I've got the one-up flat pedals. There's pretty much the pedals I always run because they're got this big flat platform, and I think they probably look like one of the best pedals. All right, like I already mentioned, I have a full XT drivetrain, which means XT cassette and XT derailleur. Again, so far so good. I did use the GX stuff on my last bike, and I like the reliability of the GX or X01 or whatever, but I do find that those clutches just aren't tight enough. If you listen to people's videos where they do have like, you know, GX or Axis or whatever, you'll hear their chain slap way more, or like the derailleur will slap. I find that the Shimano's just have that nice tighter clutch, and it makes the bike quite a bit quieter. So if you're wondering why my bike is quiet, part of the reason I think is I have this XT derailleur. Now I have heard that they are more prone to breaking, or at least like you gotta keep an eye on the clutch and service it and stuff like that, but I'm probably gonna snap it off before that happens. And how do I know that? Because this is my second XT derailleur, and I've had this bike for like 2 months. I already snapped one. I hit a lot of rocks. And again, I run the Versus tire on the rear as well, and I've got a Noble TR37 carbon wheel in the rear. And this is where like I was having 90% of my wheel problems. I had Noble wheels on my Enduro, I've got Noble wheels on this bike, and I think that lack of maintenance is just such a big selling point. And they also have lifetime warranty now too, so if you do manage to crack or break a rim or whatever, they're just gonna replace it. Then moving down, again, I've got the TRP DHR Evo down here, but in the rear I have a 203 rotor, and I did that just because that's the maximum size recommended for this frame. It said max 200 mil or whatever, so I was like, okay, I won't put the 223 on because it says not to. Otherwise, I probably would have just ran the 223 front and rear. All right, that's my Evil Reckoning. All the parts I run, even all the extra bits like my bike computer and my water bottle cage and cush core and all that kind of stuff. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And you know what, I might even do a live stream, so you know what, we can get online. You know, maybe a day or two after this video is posted, I'll try and do a live stream. So keep an eye out for that if you want to just chat and, you know, go back and forth, talk about the bike, ask me anything you want. We'll think about doing that. And like I said, if you have any video ideas that aren't riding, leave them down in the comments. You know what? Put an F in the chat for my poor big purple broken toe. Hopefully we'll be back riding like 2 or 3 weeks from when I post this video. So yeah, you know, not too long, we'll be back to riding. I've got some cool things I want to show you, like why I have my front brake going through the steer tube. That's going to be a riding video. That one's going to be super fun and kind of scary. So keep an eye out for that too. Okay, you know what? I gotta go to work. See you guys in the next one. Whew.